I miss the Z House for sure. It's one of those things that I look back and I'm like, man, the potential that Z House had is insane. Like, if all 5 of us had committed, I like, gosh dang, man, that, like, it would have been a very different life for me. But like, that would have been, not Sidemen level, because Sidemen are huge. I'm trying to think of like a pretty big group. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like the problem is that, like, and the reason, like, it was kind of me and Lex that, like, decided to end the Z House. I think, you know, it was us. It felt like me and Lex were like the two that were like really on YouTube. Jack was kind of more about the music. Chucky was already starting to become more of like a on the sides business analytics, kind of like he was into YouTube, but he didn't really want to be like in front of the camera anymore. And then, you know, I mean, all 3 of them weren't really uploading, right? And then, you know, Matt was just kind of like on a lot of projects. So it just kind of felt like only 2 of us in the group were like consistent YouTubers. So like, I don't know what it would have looked like, you know, like, it's easy to say like if it had continued, but like at the same time, where, like, was it just on a downward trend? Because I felt like Z House 1 was amazing. Z House 2, like, you guys talk about Z House, you're like, man, Z House was so good. You mean Z House 1 was so good. Like, Z House 2, it had its videos for sure. Like, you know, I mean, that's where the salad meme came from. But like, Z House 2 was not as good. I basically just streamed the whole time. So I don't know. I just think like was it like 1 to 2 was bad? Would 3 have been worse? That's the tough thing. But at the same time, you know, maybe, oh man, I gotta grab this nuke. So yeah, it's like, it's hard to say, you know? It's just hard to say what Z House 3 would have looked like. But, you know, maybe there was a way that it really fell into its own, you know? Like, maybe Chucky became Z House's manager. And maybe, I don't know, Milo was in, like, a good chunk of the first Z House videos. Like, maybe Milo became another member of the Z House, right? And maybe Chucky started being our manager, and he was doing stuff on the side, you know? Maybe we all moved to LA and made it a full-time thing, you know, like me, Lex, and Jack all drop out of school. That's a lot, man. Like, it would have paid off, I think, but to get all 3 of us, oh man, this is not it. Woo! I just don't, like, I would have been the most likely to drop out, and I was, like, very against it, even though I was the one that had, like, a pretty solid YouTube career, you know? But not even me, like, I wasn't even there, you know? Let alone, like Lex, whose mom, you know, like, really wanted him to finish school. And then Jack, who, like, you know, didn't even really have, like, that secure of a YouTube career. Like, he's gonna drop out for it. So it's, you know, like, looking back, the amount of stuff that would have happened to make Z House work, I think, is astoundingly difficult. So many pieces would have had to move, you know, to drop out of school, move to LA. Like, again, not unrealistic for me, okay? At this time, I'm a very, like, established YouTuber. I have, like, a good, solid income. I know that, like, I will always have, like, at least, a livable income, right? So, for me, that's not a huge jump to make. Very tough. Very tough for me even to decide that. To leave my family, leave everyone behind, go out and live in LA for Z House full-time. Tough. But it would have been the easiest for me. You know, Matt was already there. Chucky could have made the move for sure. I think Chucky would have been down to make the move. But, you know, I don't think Chucky would have wanted to be a content creator. But, man, Chucky is like the GOAT when it comes to, like, content. Okay, Death Machine, I'm dead. I mean, to be fair, I called it. Man, I hate it. But I do want to finish this when I'm on the Z House. So, where was I, guys? Because I might actually make this into a video, this little talking about the Z House. Oh, what I was just finishing there was, like, I do think there's a reality where everything I'm saying happened, right? And like what I was just about to say is like Chucky is like, you know, he is like Mr. Beast's like analytics thumbnail guy. Okay? Like Chucky is like top high level YouTube stuff. He's working for the top creator as like one of the most important positions, okay? So in an alternate reality where Z-House continues, right? Chucky doesn't go start off doing his own thing and eventually start working for Mr. Beast, let's say. Like that reality where Chucky is doing his role, but basically for Z-House. So like Z-House makes its own YouTube channel. He's the thumbnails for that. Like Chucky is like the behind the scenes manager doing stuff. That's powerful right there. I mean, the group had its cohesion, you know? Chucky didn't, he definitely didn't want to be the front of the thing, but I think he would have loved that role. I think he would like that a lot, you know? So let's say that all falls into place where Chucky does that, I drop out of school, Lex drops out of school, Jack drops out of school. We all go to LA to pursue Z-House, live together, maybe get like sponsorships to pay for the house and stuff, consistent content. We're all doing our own thing on our channels. Maybe like, you know, that means Jack's doing more like music stuff rather than like zombies at this point. Me and Lex are like, I'm on Fortnite now. Lex is still on zombies. Matt is like got like a bunch of different projects on the go, but he's like, I'm committed to Z-House. Like I want to make this work. And actually, for that matter, I should mention Matt had already bought a house. So Matt would not be living with us, by the way. So it would be me, maybe me, Lex, Jack, Chucky, and like we throw Milo into the mix. Like I said, like Milo was the kind of like honorary Z-House member for like a week or two. So like Chucky's owed as that. Milo moves in. That is so much to make work, man. Like that is like, I feel like 5% chance that could have happened. There's just so many pieces that would have had to fit in there. But had that worked, right? Z-House would be huge, man. Z-House would be huge. Like when you go back and look at some of that content, like let me pull this up, okay? Anyway, what I'm getting at is like in the multiverse, someone said, there is a reality where Z-House worked, and it was so insanely successful, it blows my mind. But I guess the thing is like Z-House was very ahead of its time, and the territory that comes with that is because it's ahead of its time. It means that there really isn't like a road that has been paved on how to do that. So like, it wasn't very thought out and it wasn't very like planned to happen. And we got lucky that it was so good, but because of it like not being planned, there was a lot that like hadn't been figured out yet with group content and with group houses. And because of that, it screwed up. I think also like if maybe, let's say we were all from the UK, which is a pretty small area, it's not too far to like drive to each other, that would have been a lot more realistic to happen. But like you had like Matt in LA, Lex on the west coast of Canada up in British Columbia. I'm over on the east coast of Canada in Nova Scotia. You've got like Jack and Chucky like down on the east coast in the States. Like we are plane rides away from each other. So it's not as easy as something like, you know, the Sidemen where they're like, yeah, we're super committed, but it's like at max like a 3-hour drive or train ride to like all go shoot content. It's like for me, we're going to LA. Okay, well that is an entire day of travel. So I don't know. What I'm getting at is like there's a chance. You know, it could have happened. That multiverse, it would have been sick. Unlikely. I do wonder though, like how different my life would have been in that universe, because like I wouldn't have probably finished my degree. I wouldn't have met so many friends here. I'd be living in LA, which already at the time for me living there for 2 months was like definitely having an effect on like my, I guess you'd say like my ego. Like I feel like you're just young and impressionable and going to LA, like living in a sick house, it does something to you. I definitely felt like when I got back, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm riding that like LA energy for sure. That's something I like. I don't know. I feel like LA doesn't change everyone, but it would have changed me for maybe not the better. Um, Also hate LA. I'd probably be out of there by now because like that was, what was that, like 6 years ago, 5 years ago? I probably would have left LA and the Z-Host would be done by now. I think maybe, but maybe it would be so big I'd like have to stay. I don't think I could have done 5 years though there. I would have been so depressed. Like COVID probably would have come home. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the question is, would I have been happier in that universe? And I would have been more successful, but I don't know if I would have been as happy for the long term. So also wouldn't have met my girlfriend.